How to douse the tension remains uppermost on the minds of every patriot, I must say. My name is Ikpe. On that note, I welcome you to this edition of Violence Free World. And my guest on the program today is His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Kogi State, Chief Edward Onoja. Excellency, you're welcome to the program.
My pleasure. Thank you very much.
Okay, Excellency, we're going to come right back and continue this conversation after the special report. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Nigeria's journey through nationhood, like many others, have been characterized with good and bad incidents. A peep at our trajectory points at the 1966 coup as the most dramatic incident, a callous adventure that led to the Civil War of 1967, where millions of lives were lost and properties worth billions destroyed. While efforts at genuine reconciliation have continued, terror merchants with motives that are political, religious and monetary have for a considerable while continued to visit men on the citizens. The hallmarks of the present terror regime are the insurgency in the northeast of Nigeria, the banditry in northwest, herdsmen crisis in the north central and southwest Nigeria, and most recently, the southeast is beginning to experience what looks like the Borno-based insurgency in its nascency. Violence, therefore, has become a common denominator from all and across Nigeria. Fear is palpable as the military continue in their efforts at combating the enemies. Many citizens are beginning to wonder if the situation is now hopeless. Gladly, the reality in certain parts of Nigeria elicits hope. Many analysts will readily cite the calm in the Niger Delta region after a near total war and the reversal in status of parts of Kogi State as an enclave of Boko Haram are all pointers to the fact that the reign of terror is surmountable. Finally, as we hope for an end to terror and a return to normalcy, a positive redefinition of mindset amongst Nigerians is most necessary. Welcome back, Excellency. Now, transiting from Chief of Staff to the Deputy Governor, I'm wondering how that played out in your mind in the beginning days and even deeper into governance now. How has the experience been like? And how does it feel being the Chief of Staff and then being a Deputy Governor right now?
First, I will take it from the background that I'd transited in my short life's history from being a student to being a financial expert, then back to oil and gas, back to consulting, into politics. So life has been different movements, and within those years, I'd learned how to settle in any particular task and job description and getting it right on, as it were. Being a Chief of Staff to an excellent governor like His Excellency Alhaji Yahaya Adoza Bello prepared me for the easy transition into being his second in command as Deputy Governor. Because a good follower or aide will study his boss and principal to understand the executive nature of his job so as to fit in when the opportunity comes. So it wasn't too difficult transiting from a chief of staff who ordinarily is around the executive and drives the system on behalf of the executive to becoming a second in command who would stand in or represent the boss when he cannot be available to do the executive duties. So it's been interesting. It's been a very good learning curve, and I'm enjoying it.
Interesting. That's the word that summarizes it. Going forward, your friend, let's see how friendship works here now. How easy is it to work formally in an official capacity with someone whom you had described in another forum as Sam twin with you, and now you have to work and then maintain that friendship and then also cut out with your duties properly? How's it playing out for you?
I think working relationship is better when you see your boss more as a friend than just a principal. What you could do for a friend, you may not necessarily be able to do it for just a boss. So your passion, your willingness to go to the extra mile for the success of a boss who is a friend is even much more easier than just a boss. So there is really no conflicts and there are no hitches. You know the barriers, you know the lines, you know the boundaries, but the positive would be you are willing to go the extra mile to make your principal succeed in his office.
Interesting. Now let's go to some more serious issues that bugs the nation. Generally, it is seen, observed that the present situation, security situation, is increasingly defying all possible solutions that have been put on the table. Yet, here is a Kogi state. Price itself was coming from worse to better now. What is it that you think you must do to try and make sure that if you're safe alone here, you're not safe?
Not at all.
You're not.
I agree with you.
So how can we get this together cross board?
Let me take it from one of those military officers that did say that if all other chief executives, and he was referring to governors in Nigeria, can do just as little as what His Excellency Alhaji Ayadoza Bello is doing in Kogi State and for the security agencies in the area of information sharing, passion at nipping any signal of insecurity in the board, Nigeria would be better for it. I'll take it from there. What's His Excellency's secret? One, the buy-in of all stakeholders in Kogi State, from the community to the village heads, to the community youths, to the traditional rulers, first class, second class, third class, ungraded, to the religious leaders, Muslim, Christians, and market women, road transport unions members. That's the entire scale, the buy-in that security is not just the governor's duty, but the duty of all. That buy-in was the first foundation that helped Kogi to have see something, say something principle that was able to bring out good information, intelligent, accurate, precise information that had helped the security agencies to vanquish the would-be criminals and criminals that were operating fearlessly, courageously within Kogi before the arrival of His Excellency. That's one. Secondly, His Excellency had deep passion for human life and assets of his people, which of course is one of the cardinal purposes of being a governor, an oath that he swore to protect. So he has that at the back of his mind, that this is my number one priority, secure lives and property. And as he wakes up, goes to bed, it's right there in his mind. So he does not even take his eye off that ball. And in not taking his eye off that ball, you find out that solutions would naturally come. And I think there needs to be focus on security as a cardinal priority of anyone who is in the role of leadership. Like people would say, once you have a secured environment, there would be some form of unity. And once there's unity, prosperity is automatic. So you see, it's a scale. You secure a place, people are unified, and prosperity comes for all. And once there's prosperity, why would anyone want to go into violence or criminality when there's prosperity, doing legally approved method of earning a living?
Okay, Excellency, let's touch briefly on the peculiarity of the Bello Onoja team. Kogi State prides itself as the state with the most youth at the helms of affairs and in governance generally. What has this actually done for you in terms of impact aside from youth inclusiveness? What has it done? And what more do you think can be possibly done?
Yes, I want to align myself with you that Kogi State has the most number of young people, male, female, in governance in Nigeria today. I would be 47, my boss will be 46. The average age of people in governance will just be between 35 to 40. And you know, this is the real active demography in having the strength, both mentally and physically, to execute policies, governance ideas. And that is why the world over, once people hit the age of 60, it is expected that they take a retirement or backstage. They have the experience, but their role will be to guide the generation next that are below 60 to take up the mantle of leadership, so that we have what we call a seamless generational leadership sequence. But for us, we found out that Kogi is in that trend, and it had made an impact in a manner that we know the language the major demography speaks. We understand them because we are one of them. And once you are one of the most populated demography, if you solve the problem that lingers in that demography, you virtually or nearly solved the entire problem, because that's the middle strata. You resolve that of the elderlies and also significantly resolve that of those that are below 18. And I think that makes strong impact for us, and that's why Kogi is where it is, both security-wise, nipping the bud of all this kind of protest and the likes that we experience in other areas. So my advice would be, for the Nigerian situation, I think the very experienced elderly ones needs to stay on the advisory lane rather than the actual driving lane, so that we can garner from their experience and help drive the national system.
Wow, interesting. Excellency, there are some other issues, very cancerous elements that are serving badly to exacerbate the already very bad situation we have. There's a rhetoric of fury. You're also looking at corporate conspiracy. You're looking at ethnic profiling, all sorts. I know you have a whole lot to say about this, but you hold your fire. We'll come back after this timeout. But here, this is Violence Free World. We'll be right back after this timeout. Welcome back. This is the Violence Free World, and we still have on the hot seat His Excellency, the Deputy Governor of Kogi State, Edward Onoja. Excellency, just like we hinted at before we went on that break, there's this challenge of ethnic profiling, ethnicization of violence, of crime. People would rather call crime rather for what it is. They are more concerned about the part of the country that is producing all of these criminals or perpetrating these crimes. What do you make of this? How does this help the solution of national dialogue?
Like my boss would say, criminality is criminality. You don't define it. And criminality is criminality because the law is specific to what is criminal in nature and what is not. So once you go against it, whether you are from Jupiter or from Saturn, you have breached the law. And there are consequences. It is the duty of the security agencies, the judiciary, to ensure that that consequence is meted out to whoever has breached the law. And it's also the duties of stakeholders not to be taking sides or subtly defending someone who has actually breached the law in a criminal manner. Once you do that, once it happens in the reverse order, the other side would want to take sides. And I think that's one of the fundamental challenge in our country, Nigeria, today.
Very closely related to that is this issue of rhetoric of fury. People talking tough, and it excites them to see that they're being reckoned with when they talk all of that toughness. Where does this situate dialogue that we're craving?
I've observed something about those who talk tough and that have been raising hell on all matters from all sides of the nation. Their loved ones are not on the soil of this country. Virtually all of them. So the question is, if they are so passionate about their country or their people, why would they let their loved ones be in foreign lands? Once you identify any warlord whose wife and children are not on the soil of this country, don't take them seriously. They're jokers.
Wow.
My take.
That's a very hard one, swift one. All right, now let's look at corporate conspiracy. When I say corporate conspiracy, I'm actually referring to people or institutions who ordinarily should be part of the solution now becoming complicit in the adversity that we face as a people. How do you deal with this reality?
As an individual, I can only advise. And my advice is simple. If someone falls short of the law in the act of criminality that takes human life, value the human life above the status of whoever may be involved and mete out justice. Once you do it to 1, 2, 3, I think others will understand that it's no longer business as usual. And then we'll begin to see positive results. My take.
All right. I was tempted to argue though that can you mete justice to yourself if you are actually related and connected to some persons who are complicit in that regard, it becomes very difficult to administer this justice.
And that's why we have different arms of government and different people doing different. You can't just be in the 3 of them. You can at best be in just one. You can be an executive, then be a legislator. The same time be in the judiciary. So there's division of labor. So I think the Constitution provides the ability to actually bring the consequences to the table on whoever that is found culprit.
Very well. Moving on, Excellency, let's come to my constituency, the media. A lot of people or some persons are very, very convinced that the media is not playing a very, very good role. I'd like you to assess the performance of the media as far as violence in Nigeria is concerned today.
First, the media,
Yes.
if I'm very correct, is a business. And bad news sells like ice cream. So, there seems to be some exaggeration of the bad news without actually bringing out the efforts. So you open your television or you listen to the radio, what you hear is they've kidnapped here, they've killed here, they've maimed here, they've burnt down here, without also bringing out the positive efforts in trying to nip this in the bud. So it works on the mind of the citizenry and makes the citizens feel like all hope is lost. So the media, whilst reporting, should also try to balance it with the efforts to show that yes, there is hope and that citizens are part of the solution themselves.
Very briefly, what's your vision for the country? Very briefly.
I'm optimistic that Nigeria is going to be great. But it will only be great if we build bridges and not barriers along ethnic, religious, and class lines. I know Nigeria is going to be great if our focus are on these three things: the security of our nation, the unity of our nation, which automatically will bring about the prosperity of our nation. This I have seen practicalized in Kogi State in the last 5.5 years. And I'm optimistic that if God grants, when God, not if, when God grants my principal the opportunity in a larger scale, securing Nigeria, uniting Nigeria, and prospering Nigeria will become a reality. I believe so.
Is Nigeria going to disintegrate? Are we going to go to war? What do you make of the fear around? The fear is palpable. Even yesterday, I spoke with people. They would tell me, Kali, this is not a joke. Even some pastors are telling people, prepare for plan B. Are we going to go to war?
I'm not, I wasn't born during the last civil war we had, but those who experienced it have always cautioned younger people that war can never be the solution. Dialogue, understanding, and building bridges is the solution. But before we get that solution, we must ensure we put right thinking unifiers at the helms of affairs. Once that is done and all parts of Nigeria have a sense of belonging, sense of ownership of the nation called Nigeria, there will be no need for disintegration. I don't see disintegration. I see unification.
Finally, your word of advice to youth, particularly as it concerns their involvement with violence.
I'm a little bit spiritual on this kind of matters. There's a commandment that says, thou shalt not kill. Any man who tells you to kill hates you. So young people, if there is any leader out there that gets you together, pays you to go kill somebody, you won't answer to him, but you would answer to your creator. Because one of the greatest evil on earth is taking life that you cannot create. No amount of science can create life. So let's value life. Once you have that at the back of your mind, that taking a man's life, which can never be bought by any amount of money, one, can never be created by any knowledge known to man as at today, and I believe till the end of the world, something should tell you that once you cross that line, yes, you may think that God is a forgiving God, yes, but to take a human life, it spills over to your generations, your children. You need to know that. So be careful, young people. Never go violent, never take life. you would not end well doing that, no matter the price that they give to you.
Well, Excellency, I think that's a very good point to leave it. I must say, this session has been very, very interesting. I'd like to thank you very much for obliging me.
My pleasure. I appreciate you. Thank you very much.
Well, I've been speaking with His Excellency, Chief Edward Onoja, the Deputy Governor of Kogi State. Same time, next week promises even a better edition if you endeavor to be here. Until then, please remember to remain on the road to a violence-free Nigeria. God bless you and thank you for watching.